What's up, B fam? You are in for a treat today because we have brought you a couple that has really honed in on this one specific area of your blended family, and that is having family meetings. And so if that is something that you are like, oh man, yes, I totally need this. We've been trying to do family meetings and we just are not successful at it. Or if you have come to a place and you're like, family meetings, what the heck is that? Then stick with us today because this is going to be something that changes the dynamic of your family. We have Alex and Lisa. They are a blended family of 5, founders of StepUp Method. They're authors, they're podcast hosts, and they're creators of the family meeting planner that we are going to talk about today. And so we met Alex and Lisa on social media because, that's where all good relationships start. And so here in just a minute, we're going to get to dig in and hear a little bit about their family, their background, why they got to this place, and how it can help you and your family. Stick with us right after this.
All right. And so we're back. Now, before we say this, family meetings, some people are like, wait a minute, that's boring. No, I don't want to do a family meeting.
That's
no.
what the men would say. The women are like, we need family meetings.
But this is a way to make it fun. Okay. And who needs a little bit more fun in their blended family? Come on, bring it on. So Alex, Lisa, welcome. Thank y'all for being here and joining us today.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We've been following your journey for years. I like to say years now. It seems like it happens so fast, but it's just been really neat to see what you guys have been doing and serving the blended family community. And so we're happy to be here. Yeah.
Oh, and it's such a great community, being able to link up like this. And we love what the two of you are doing. Yeah. This is one of those topics to where, blended families, we got our issues, right? Every family has their issues. Blended families tend to have a little more sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, but that's the more challenge, right? So challenge accepted. We're all here and we're moving forward. We're having a lot of fun with this, but to be able to come together, and that's what I love what y'all have done here is this is a way to help bring your family more together, help keep you more connected. And whenever we're doing that, we're breaking down a lot of those divisional walls. So we really are excited that the two of you are here. We love what you're doing and excited to be able to share with all of the B fam here today. So before we even get started, why don't y'all share a little bit about the two of you and y'all's family dynamics?
Perfect. I'm going to let Lisa, because she has a greater memory than I do. And I will dates up and she will catch me off guard and be like, hey, that's not what you were wearing when on January 4th of 19, whatever. So go ahead, Lisa.
I think that's a woman thing. They're just so much better than we are. I don't know.
Great thing. So we've now been married for just over 10 years. We celebrated 10 years in March. We met, 12 years ago. And when we met, our kids were, I think, 4, 6, and 8. And we started dating, but didn't really tell the kids we were dating. We had a lot of play dates. And as far as our kids knew, they just got to hang out together. And so 2 years later, we told the kids we were dating, and like a couple months later, we were married. So it went really fast in everyone's eyes. Our
kids are like, wait, what?
They're like, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had no idea. I don't know that we were really prepared for what we were getting into. I think Alex more so than me, and I'll let him share his story is a little different than mine, but definitely bringing the family together was interesting. The kids we thought they were going to like blend splendidly, right? Because they had spent 2 years really having a lot of hangout time together. Once they were introduced as siblings, though, things shifted just a little bit. And plus, with the kids going back and forth, I think that was the bigger challenge is, they would go to their other parents' house and then they'd come back, and it was always this time of reset. And I think that's really where the family meeting planner, our family meetings all together were born. It's just, hey, we've got to reset as a family. This is how we're going to bring everyone back together.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Lisa mentioned something very interesting. It was, so she came out of I came out of a 10-year marriage too prior to this. I got married very young. I feel like I've lived a life of
I was going to say 10 years senior. You look so young, man. I mean, come on. What are you doing? What's your secret? Is it the water?
I know, seriously, it's the water out here in Arizona. So we, went through 10 years, and then so it was a blended family as well. We had our 2 kids, and then I was raising my ex-wife's 3 kids. So, and then when we met, so I'd already gone through the journey of them going through the motions of having to raise somebody else's kids. Lisa didn't have that. So yeah, I had to adjust, and like the expectation of, hey, for me, it was just normal. Like I already had the rhythms down of like what this should look like. And so there was some time where we had to really adjust, as a new blended family on how we were going to go about, raising our family, setting priorities, how do we really kind of build a successful family within this new dynamic. So, but we're here 10 years in.
2 of our own.
Yeah.
Because I convinced Alex that we needed to have another one. And then we realized there was an 8-year difference between mine, who was previously the youngest, and the new baby. And so we had to have a baby for our baby.
That's right. I mean, they had to have like companionship around the same age. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We had to. So we cut it off after that. So we're officially done. And so Alex is now on his second family of 5 that he's raised.
Well, here's the funny thing. So, I meet Lisa. I'm like, gosh, I have my 2. You have yours. You have your daughter. I'm thinking my 40s. I'm like, man, our kids are gonna be older. We're gonna be able to travel the world in our 40s. Yeah. Back when all out here we are with we have now our 2 youngest are 9. Our daughter will be 9 this month, and then our son just turned 7 last month. So
9 and 7.
So they gone by really quick. Yeah.
Yes, it really. So looking at that, like y'all mentioned it a little bit as far as your family, like just the back and forth and everything with the kids, and y'all are like, man, we've got to like have a reset. Was there like a moment that you're like, this is not working? Like, did it crash? Did it go down? And you're like, okay, now we've got to build this back up. Or was it like the slow progression? Is that where this family planner came about? It was something that y'all were using yourself first, or y'all were successfully doing this, and then you're like, let's make a product that can help other families?
So 6 months after we got married, and so Lisa got broken goods. She got damaged goods. So I actually had a heart attack at 32.
Wow.
And at that moment, thankfully she got me to the hospital, because if she didn't give me a hospital in time, I wouldn't be here today. And so, and thanks to God too, because he gave me her to get me to the hospital. So, but that was a moment for me that was like, okay, we can't live our life just assuming we're going to get tomorrow, and at 32 years old, that was a wake up call. And it's not that it was genetic. It wasn't out of shape. It wasn't, it was just something that, I just had to deal with. So, and in that progression of like, how do we become more intentional with raising our family? That's where the idea of like, we need systems. We got to start building out systems for better managing and leading our family. And we always go back to our childhood. We remember we vividly, and I'll let Lisa kind of share her journey too, but I remember vividly having a friend of mine that would do family meetings. And this is in the 80s. And they would do family meetings. Before the family meeting, they would then they would have like a cake that the mom would make. And then they would sit down, and I would show up sometimes, and they're like, no, come in. And we'd all have our little pound cake or whatever it was.
You got to join the family meeting and eat.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm here. And it was cool. But it was such a searing image in my mind of like what it looked like to have family come together. And that never left me. And I remember we reverting back to that in our journey. And then Lisa, you had a similar kind of journey as a kid too.
Well, thanks. When I was in high school, and I had one of my very good friends. I happened to be at her house one day, and her family, I mean, they're like, okay, we have to do our family meeting. And I was like, what in the world are you talking about? Like, my family would never have done that. Like, it's just not something we would have done. And they all huddled in the kitchen and just stood around, and they talked about, everybody got a chance to share what was going on in their life. They talked about the schedule for the week, so they were all on the same page. And I mean, it was a quick 20-minute meeting. And I was like, can I come to your house every week when you guys do this? Because I just thought it was so cool. And then really, like as a mom, and any of the moms out there will understand this, we often hold what I call the keys to the kingdom. Like I know all of the moving parts of my family. I know when everybody needs to be somewhere. I know everything that needs to be done, and nobody else in my family seems to know that. And I'm like, how do you not know that, like, Peyton has to be to work at 6 and Noah doesn't get off work until 7, so we have to figure out cars. Like this is constantly moving puzzle pieces in my head. And our family meeting is really the chance of like, okay, I'm no longer responsible for everything. I'm going to share with everyone in the family what everyone has going on. And now we're all responsible for making sure it gets done. So it took some of the pressure off of me as well as the mom, because I really did hold all of the knowledge of everything that was happening.
Yeah.
Isn't that
And you
crazy
still
how it
do.
all
And I
falls
still
on
do,
one
but at
person a
least
lot
now
of
I
times?
tell them.
Yeah.
At least you realize the problem. It's like, wait a minute, there's too much on my plate, y'all, and y'all are just like just living life. Then no, this is not fair. Let's make something work here. Y'all take some responsibility here.
Was it
And
hard
And
getting
the
them?
funny thing about it,
Was it
go
hard
ahead.
getting them on board though? Like when you said we're gonna have a family meeting, were they like no, or they were all for it?
So, okay, so we started, again, the dates are disputable here, but we've been doing it
Depends on who
probably
you ask.
eight. Yeah, it depends on who you ask, right? And again, I'm probably not, but I like to say it's close to a decade, last 7+ years, give or take. So if you can imagine, the kids were younger, right? So we didn't have a planner, obviously, at that point. We just had an idea of like, let's sit our family down and talk about things that are important, to the family. And whether it was values, whether it was just check-ins. Hey, how was your day at school today? You know, and for us too, it was a moment to where when our kids are too older now, are 21 and 19. So now you're talking their early teens, going right into teenager kind of year, preteen. Peyton's what, maybe, yeah, she's 7, 8,
Yeah.
9, right around there. And then the two little ones, our little one was 2 or 1 or
Yeah,
2,
somewhere around that.
and Winston wasn't born yet. Um, so the idea was like, let's just get our family together on a weekly basis and just have a conversation, but with some intention behind, like, and then Lisa would talk about schedules, which was probably more for me than the kids. What's interesting, because everybody always asks this question about kids getting on board. And they ask like what age ranges and stuff like that. And so what we were, I think, building unknowingly during that time was a rhythm that would become a habit. So they didn't know any different. And so what I always recommend any family, it's like, well, my kids are too young. I'll do that when they're a little bit older. I go, no, you got to do it now, because if you sit, it doesn't matter. The toddler's going to get up and run around, and just, you got to accept that and not be too rigid. Like you, Lisa likes to say, it's expectations. You got to lower the expectation of what you're trying to get out of this meeting at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because if you try to have this high expectation, especially fathers, you're probably gonna get very frustrated.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, the kids aren't sitting down, they're not listening, they're not taking note, whatever,
We
how you
have the
structure it.
PowerPoint. We're not even through the PowerPoint yet, guys.
And the kids are getting up, they're running, and I gotta go to the bathroom 15 times. Mind you, they always have to go to the bathroom right when we sit down, not 10 minutes before they knew the meeting. No, now I gotta go to the bathroom. So
That's where you're
it's
messing
all
with. All
good.
right, meeting's in the bathroom. All right, everybody, let's go.
Hey, that's a
We
good
might
one.
have to do that, actually.
Yeah, that's a good one. So it's building the rhythm. And if you can do it early enough, it becomes a habit. And then it's just something that just happens. It's part of your DNA as a family. So
It is. And when you talk about expectations, right? Like we have teenagers and we have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old that would much rather be, running around the neighborhood or doing something else. I'm going to be totally honest. Like our kids don't run to the table and be like, yay, it's a family meeting, right? Like there's not, I mean, we're not going to lie here and say that's what it is.
Y'all need the pound cake.
yes.
No, we do bribe them with like cookies and stuff. We're like, we'll make cookies for the family meeting. So, but they're there. They show up. And it's not optional at your house. Like if you're home, if you're not at work, like work is the only out you have from not being at the family meeting. they show up. And that's the most important part. Like, even think about how many meetings you show up to work that you don't want to go to, but you show up and you get value out of it. And it's the same thing in the family. So,
And I even say this, and maybe this will, depending on where the questions are going today, you don't know when the breakthrough moment's going to happen.
yeah.
Okay.
True.
And that's really important for everybody to understand. You don't know when the breakthrough moment is going to happen. And we've had a couple moments in our family meetings over the years where our kids broke down and really shared their heart because it was at the right time and at the right moment to get something off of their chest that they needed to, that was really important for the family to hear and for the family to then rally behind and around. So now, had we not created the rhythm, that moment may not have happened, in a passing conversation in the car, or or any other time. So that's the big, I think, you got to create the environment and the moment. You got to create the environment and the opportunity for that to happen when there's an intent, when it's intentional. And so having a family meeting, you don't know when it's going to happen. So it's like, it's when preparation meets opportunity. You know
Sure.
what I mean? We've been preparing for this moment,
Yeah.
and now here it is. And now what are we going to do with it as a family and as parents?
Yeah.
So we've had, moments where our we had one moment, one of our kids just, we went around, started doing check-ins, and something was heavy on his heart. We started talking to him, and all of a sudden he breaks down, and we were, praying for him and try to understand what's going, and it was during a hard time in his life,
Yeah.
during that time, right? So, especially during COVID, you start talking about like
Mhm.
what's happened to kids during the last few years with the social interactions and a lot of these things. Had we not had the family meetings, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if
Yeah.
these conversations would have came. So anyhow, that's just one of many we've had over the years. And again, back to Lisa's point, they're not always going to be breakthrough. Sometimes it's just, okay, here's the check-in, here's the schedule, here's something we need to talk about as a family that's maybe we need to realign priorities to, and
Mhm.
then we conclude, done, right? Everybody's on the same page. And then
Yeah.
other meetings are everybody's now sharing their hearts on stuff that's really deep and meaningful. And we need to be present in that moment to really capture the hearts of our kids,
Yeah.
so.
I love that. It's all about the connections. I love how y'all say that you're creating the space, and you never know when that breakthrough will happen. And sometimes it's not even about the breakthrough, but you're creating the rhythm. It's just something that your family starts doing, but it's being intentional with communicating and
Mhm.
being able to
Mhm.
share with each other what's going on. We've learned from, time and time again that whenever our kids are in the know, then there is this connection. They feel
Mhm.
more involved. They feel more, connected
Yeah.
with the family instead of feeling like, "Oh, I'm just sitting on the sidelines here."
Especially in a blended family, how important it is for them to feel like they belong.
Mhm.
And there's so much out of their control in step families because they're bouncing back and forth. And so I mean, this is beneficial for anybody that's not a step family as well, and they could take it and run with it. But when you are in a step family, the kids are pulled in so many different directions. And then if you are involved parents and your kids are involved in activities and you're encouraging that, everybody's in this different place. And I think it even opens up the lines of communication to see how much either mom or dad's getting pulled on to be in multiple different places at the same time. And so looking through y'all's planner, because y'all really did, like, after investing all of these years of doing it yourself, y'all have created something. For one, I think it's beautiful as well. And I just have the digital copy of it, just so user friendly and done in a way that really just walks you through the steps, tells you the questions to ask, helping your family become connected in that way. And so we want to take some time in just a minute to have y'all just walk through these 7 key areas, because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening right now and they're like, well, okay, I want that for my family. I want not necessarily the planner even, but they want that feeling of
Yeah.
their family
Mhm.
coming together and connecting in that way. And you can probably attempt to put these 7 things in a process without the planner as we're talking through it. But I mean, or you could just save yourself a whole lot of time and headache and just go ahead and get the planner. I'm telling you, it is so well thought out, and then you have it there for you. So we're going to go through that in just a second. Hey, have you heard of Get Out Pass? I hadn't either. I saw it on a friend's social media, and I had to immediately look to see if my state had it, because she lives in a different state than me. I was like, oh heck yeah, where can we sign up? If you are home for the summer and looking for things to do, you want to get yourself a Get Out Pass. You pay one time for each of your family members, a one-time fee, and it gets you in to all of these places around your community for free. It is so worth it. When I heard about this, I began to look into it, and I was like, are you kidding me? It costs this much to get into every single one of these places. This is thousands of dollars that we are saving, and now we have the opportunity, because of the one time that we paid, to get into all of these places. These are water parks, climbing places, jumping places, arts and craft areas, boardwalks, theme parks, type activities. Then I took that list and I sent it to all of my kids and asked them, hey, which one of these things do you want to do? Now I have plans all summer long, even with my adultish children. And of course the grandbaby. These bigger cities are partnered with Get Out Passes. So go and check now, see if you have a city nearby that allows you to use this pass, and then get it for your family. It will pay for itself in 1 to 2 visits, I promise you. And if you're part of our blended family community, use the code BFAM and you get 30% off. You buy it one time and you have all year to go to all of these places one time. Go get it, sign your family up, and do not sit at home this summer with all them kids. Get out the house and make some memories.
We are back, and we have just, I love both of you and how this passion stirred up just from your past, how you had just individually had experiences that ignited the desire to say, we need to come together as a family.
Yeah.
And for that just to be that driving force for your family unit. Now, seeing the success from that and wanting to share it with everyone else, and how much this can benefit your family that's out there that's listening right now, how powerful this is. And there's so many other benefits that we're going to talk about as well. But, it's just amazing. It amazes me to just know that, I know how many families aren't doing this stuff, but if we start doing it, man, this is like revolutionary. This is like changing families all over, changing blended families.
Well, we all say that our family is priority, but when you look at it, like, are we prioritizing? Yes, we're prioritizing them out there in the world, like being and showing up for them, but are we prioritizing what's happening inside our house? And that's what I think the benefits of this this really shine through.
Yeah, no doubt. And so y'all have seven key sections here. Could you walk us through what are those 7 key sections? Maybe the why behind the what?
So the vision behind why we wanted to create the planner was, there's something that's very powerful when you have something physical that you have to look at every day. So if you think about, we wanted to create, and that's why we made a digital copy of it, but the digital version of it it's in the ether, right? It's in the digital life world, and you may not always catch it and see it, but when you have a planner sitting in your house, on your desk, in your bedroom, on your nightstand, it's reminding you, hey, have we done this family meeting? Or are we going to do this? I
Almost
ordered this
like that
planner.
accountability. You're sitting there and it's
It
talking
is.
to you like,
Yeah.
hey, remember me?
Yes. How many times? So, our Bibles, we have Bibles placed throughout the house, right? And it's interesting. We do it, but it's a reminder. Hey, when I look at it, man, I haven't gotten into the word lately. I'm like, no, I better, let me spend some time. So
Yeah.
it's just very intentional. And so we want, because we could have easily done an app, and we might do those things in the future, because your phone's obviously in front of you all day long, and maybe we can send people notifications
Hey, there you go. Push
you know, when they need,
notifications. You know, did you do your?
you know, we'll figure that out. But I'm trying to get people off of the digital and kind of sit down and not have to look at their phones, right? So that was, so the planner started there. Okay, how do I get something physical so they're reminded, right? So that's one. The 7 sections were really built on everything layering around what's important to the family. So obviously there's a section around just like family meeting instructions, like why, or the introduction, like what's our back end story in a very, very short blurb. So it's important to understand why we did this. Then we have like a family core values, at least in this planner, we have family core values exercise. So
And I
you
love
can,
that
that's really
aspect
meant
of
to
it.
be.
Y'all did such a great job on
Mhm.
the core areas, trying to come up with the core. You know, what is our family about? And man, well done, well
A
done.
picture of it and text it to all my kids because our kids are out of the house now. And I was just curious, especially because our kids are starting their own families and stuff as well to get the conversation going. So I took a picture and I was like, I'm just curious. Look on this list, not the preteen list. Maybe they need the preteen list, but look on this list and get back with me. What are your top values here? And so I'm excited to see what they say on there.
That's awesome. That's cool. Good. I'm glad that like you took that and that was something that like that really stood out and that, you know, you actually took action on it. Cause I think, you know, when I've asked, we would ask parents like, do you guys have your family core values identified? And a lot of families don't, you know, and it's interesting. So I come back, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, but I had a long life in the corporate world. And you know, if you can easily spit out your corporate core values, which a lot of times they ingrain them into you, you can at a drop of a dime, and you can't do that for your family.
Yeah.
Like there's something off. There's
Yeah.
something really off, and I don't think people connect those dots.
Yeah.
Like how is it that you have ingrained this corporate core value, like the mission, the vision behind your corporation, which by the way, tomorrow they can come and go and let you go and riff you or, you know, let you out of a contract or whatever the case is. And
Yeah.
you don't have something that is standardized your family, you know, with from a values perspective. So we are like, all right, we got to start at the foundation of things. So we built in a core values exercise, very simple. By the way, there's a lot of different types of core value exercises out there. This is just meant to be very simple that even your preteens can get involved. And we've done it with our family. We've actually,
I think our youngest was 5 when we did
when we
ours,
did
and
ours,
he fully participated in the exercise.
and he understood it.
That's awesome.
And we're big believers that when you do your family core values, you got to do it as a family. They have to have buy-in to the value, not mom and dad coming up with them and we're buying in. Hey, this is our values, kids. This is what we stand for.
Here it is. This is what you're gonna live.
Think about it though. It does. It gives them a voice, and y'all worded things in that preteen section, which again, like you said, your 5-year-old looked at. But I think even our young adults would probably use that side as well. But you worded it in a way that it's like it doesn't sound like a core value. It just sounds like something important to them, you know?
Yes. Yes. And then, you know, you take those values, you come up with the top four. We put 4, you can come up with 6, whatever. We're just giving people like a foundation. And, you know, you want to expand behind why that matters. You know, so the goal of the conversation now of the core values, and when you review them, is like, let's say, you know, why is love important to our family? Well, we're going to talk about that. Like, because, you know, we've been loved by God first. So therefore we're going to love others. Whatever, you know, whatever it is for you and why you believe love is a core value, you expand beyond it, and then that becomes something that you can always go back to, which is interesting in our family when when we did our core values. Whenever the kids would have a dispute, especially little ones, we'd always have to go back. We're like, okay, you guys remember our core values? Like, yeah, and we always do contests. We'll sit down. Hey, quickest who can get to who can name all the core values, and we have very competitive kids. So they would be like, oh, and the one of them cries because they didn't get there fast enough. It's a whole mess. We create the mess. We know we create the fights. We're the ones creating the fights by this time. You know, because our kids
There's some
are way
benefit
too
coming
competitive.
out of it, but you know, that's kind of the fun part too, right?
So
you'll get your
you know,
side
so
bets going.
Exactly. But we can always bring it back to what we stand for as a family. And then that gets them thinking. They're like, yeah, you're right, Dad. You know, love is. So why did you hit your brother or your is that loving? No.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, you can break it down very simple to a 4, 5, 6-year-old. And that's, I go back to like when parents come to us with the objection of, well, I'll do this when my kids are older. No, you got to like start doing it now. They can understand those things. And then you can have conversations of bringing them back to the values for the family.
Well,
Yeah.
cool thing about the core values. So one of our core values as a family is adventure. And so we just create adventure out of everyday things that we do. But because it's a core value, we'll even say to the little ones, do you want to go on an adventure? Like we'll go to Starbucks and Starbucks becomes an adventure,
I
right? So
love
it's kind
that.
of like it's that story of like you see what you're looking for. And so now that we have our core values, we see those core values in everyday things. So it doesn't have to be, an adventure to go hiking or an adventure to go do something. It's literally an adventure to Starbucks. And then it becomes an adventure because that's such a core of who we are as a family.
Yeah.
And so that's been fun with the core values too.
So, so that's, and then by the way, we encourage people to, if you're struggling for like, what's my first family meeting? Well, maybe do a core value family meeting, like go through the process, and then maybe that's an agenda item, right? So you can do that, or you can do it separate. It's up to whoever, whatever people want to do. Then we have a family vision worksheet. It's very simple. Like we just write down what the family vision, and this can be a conversation obviously during a family meeting. Hey, what is the vision for our family? What do we want to accomplish? What do we want our family to be known for? So that becomes a conversation, and then you can jot that down. And then family matters that, discusses again goals, mission, those type of things. And then from there, because once you've identified like a yearly goal as a family, we want to then have what are some quarterly check-ins that you can obviously just easily print out. What's the quarterly objective to get to that yearly goal? Maybe the yearly goal is, maybe one of our kids, wants to get, turn their C into an A. Okay, so that's a good goal for one of our kids. What can we do to like help them get to that goal? So it's about bringing the family together collectively into the goal. And the same thing for the parents. If you have a goal that's collective to the family, that is agreed upon between the, mom and dad, then it's how do you bring the family into that goal and then track it quarterly. And then finally, we get to the understanding of the anytime check-in. So we're big believers that every meeting you do should start with the check-in because it sets the tone. You let the guards down a little bit, and then you're able to kind of get into the conversation. So how do you do that? And we always start all of our meetings with the check-in like this. And then
And
but you
kind of
can use it anytime.
explain the check-in just a little bit. So that's just like, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Kind of.
Mhm. So what we do is every meeting we start with a personal, and if for our kids we call it personal professional for us, but for personal and extracurricular update or check-in. So if one of our kids are playing sports, that's going to be their quote unquote like their professional kind of check-in, but it's extracurricular, and then they're personal. So they'll start, hey, today was a great day at school, whatever, and then yeah, basketball's going really well. I feel like I'm getting better at my game. What we want to help parents move into though is becoming vulnerable and creating the space for vulnerability, and it starts with us leading the check-ins with not a surface level check-in, but going a little bit deeper with being appropriate so that the kids they're going to start to hear, man, mom and dad, they're always, hey, personally, I feel like I just been really tired. A lot of things have been going on at work. Mom and dad are trying to figure out, our next business. It's nice that you guys have been helping us out throughout the house. But we're just been really exhausted and we're trying to, find ways to get more energy into our day. So I'm going a little bit deeper, right,
Sure.
into this because I could have easily just said, work's been great, just a little busy right now. And personally, feeling really good. And a lot of people do that. And you'll see that in business, in work, by the way, you see those type of check-ins all the time. So the goal of a check-in is you got to lead with vulnerability, and then you start to see your kids. They're observing, watching, and now they're becoming better communicators of how they feel and what's driving their emotion. So you can get to the heart of really what's going on. So over time, our kids start to open up more, especially the teenagers, and that creates the moments that those breakthrough moments at times where when you're not expecting them. So in the in the plan, we have a process of how to do that. And then we have the family worksheets. Those are the 52. This planner comes with 52 weeks. So the goal is to do a family meeting every week. There's power and consistency. You want to be able to build consistency into you and a rhythm into your life and into the way when the kids can expect to show up. What we've realized is when families do a meeting 1 week and then they don't do it for 1 week after or 2 weeks after, a lot of times it dies off.
Yeah.
And that's anything.
Mhm.
Think about that. That's you go to the gym for 1 week and then you miss 3 days. You go back one day before you know it, your whole New Year's resolution just went out the door. By the way, and that's a lot of people struggle with that.
You didn't
But that's
create that habit in your
everything.
life. Yep.
Got to create the habit.
Yep.
So the habit becomes do it weekly. That's the overarching idea. The layer beneath that is accountability.
Mhm.
So by doing it weekly, we have the worksheet broken down to where we're capturing open action items. And the action items there are built to help keep the family accountable to something that needs to occur within the week. So if we have a goal that we need to hit for the year, for the month, whatever, we're tracking on a weekly basis. So if our kids, let's say, for example, your kids are, they just got their license, they need to get a job. Okay, we have a family meeting. We're going to talk about how many applications you're going to go and do this week to start looking for work. Well, Dad, I don't know. Okay, well, let's talk about how many we think we should have. Maybe 5, 10 this week.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to put that as an action item this week. Do you need help? Okay, these are the people that are being accountable to maybe helping you in your journey to getting these 10 done. So that would be at the like teenage level. Parents, same thing. If I need to get something done and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot, I need to get this done. Let's jot that down because it's important to the family. I'm now held accountable. So then the following week, when we do the next family meeting, we're going to review the action items. Did this get done? Additionally, throughout the week, we're checking in. I know my son may have to do 10 applications. Hey, son, how you doing? If you got a week left or you got 3 days left, have you gotten them done? Well, I got 2. Okay, well, you better get 8 because that's the goal now. You got to get to these 8. For the little ones, it could be as simple. Now you're starting to help them understand goal setting. So the accountability part is for somebody, for your younger ones, preteens, you can help them set some very realistic goals that are appropriate to them and say, hey, within this week, what should we do to work on getting you there?
Yeah.
Well, and what's so great about that, so our little guy, he decided, because we work out a lot, like our family's very big into health and fitness. Like it's a huge, like we believe so much in it. So they see us doing it all the time. We don't force our little ones to really do it, but I think it was about a year ago. And he's like, okay, I'm going to start working out every morning when I wake up. And we're like, okay, buddy, what does that look like? So he pulls out a piece of paper and he writes up like 20 sit-ups, 20 push-ups, 20 mountain climbers, and he taped it on his bed. And for a good solid month, every morning when he woke up, I mean, this little guy is like 6, right? He did it on his own. But it was so cool to see because it's like, I know adults that can't make that step between, hey, I want to do this and how do I do it? And it was so amazing to see our 6-year-old just instinctively know if I want something, I know I have to make a plan to get there. And that really came out of our family meetings and them watching them.
Yeah, that's key. And the 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 secret sauce that we built into this, it's very subtle. We really want people to catch this. So in the worksheets, we created roles. So you have a lead and you have a scribe. Okay. So the lead, usually it's mom or dad leading the meeting. I'm really, as a father, I'm really pressing for men and fathers to lead, because I feel a lot of times this can just be, again, she does a tremendous amount of, like, I can't keep up with her. She's a maniac. She does so much that I just can't keep up. I'm like everything. And to your point, like we were talking earlier, she just knows what needs to happen. She has the keys to the kingdom. I'm like, okay, I got to keep up. So, but I feel like in marriages, sometimes it's easy to just hand that off to be like, okay, mom's going to set it up and do the meeting and get everything, buddy, corral everybody. And as men, we have to step up and lead, and I'm really the calling is to men and fathers to step up, support your wife, let her let her be and obviously she can lead it too. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, I feel it can easily be handed off. Another thing handed off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to remove from this process is let's lead it and let's like come together as co-partners in leading our family in this journey of like through family meetings. So a lot of times, I'll lead the family meeting and then I'm like, hey babe, can you lead it? And she's fine, she'll lead it. Then we have the scribe. And this is where we want to build better listeners and communicators within our family. So the scribe's role is to take notes. So sometimes in the hardbound cover, we'll give the planner to the scribe. It might be my 8-year-old, it might be my 6-year-old, it might be my teenager. You're going to scribe.
And they got to
So they're
click on it,
listening.
and they're like,
Yeah, exactly. And they're taking notes. And it's funny because our 8-year-old she's like sitting there really intent. She's listening, taking the notes. And she's like, wait, she's listening to everybody's words, as they're going. And
takes the
I'm like,
job
this
serious,
is,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And this is the by design. This is how we create the environment to build leaders
Yeah.
and listeners and communicators. So they take the notes and then at the end they recap the notes. So how well did they listen? And if there's some that are missed, we update it. Boom, done. So and just a quick use case, kind of what happened in our family. So our 8-year-old raised her hand one day and she's like, at the time she was 7, I think 7 or 8, I forget. It was last year. So she raised her hand, Dad, I want to scribe. Perfect. So she's scribing, took beautiful notes. She has really great handwriting for a year, better than me. So she takes all the notes. And so she does it again the second meeting. Another meeting goes by and she's like, Dad, I want to lead it. And we're like, okay, cool. Like, let's do this. So I helped her. We built the agenda. So she went around and we did like a little TikTok video of it, it was a quick 15, 20 second of like little clips that we captured. It was so cute to see her lead this meeting. And the thing was like, okay, if an 8-year-old can lead a meeting, like what's stopping us men and women from leading our families in a way like this, right?
Yeah.
And that was years of her being from 2 years old, just sitting at the table, obviously being a toddler, running around, us having to go corral her back, bring her to the table, to then her sitting and like listening and like saying some things at 4 years old, 5 years old. So now at 8 years old, raising her hand, saying, "Hey, can I lead the meeting?"
Yeah.
How
That's
cool.
powerful.
It was like this moment. It was cool. It was like, that is right there what we're trying to build for families. So
Yeah.
that's all encompassed in the family meeting, and there's instructions on how to do that. And then we have other resources and stuff that we put out there too to help families in this process.
I love that. I mean, I'm, that's one thing within parents that, most of the time I think we get so engrossed in, I just want our kids to survive, be successful adults. And we get caught up in the day-to-day grinds and we miss this part of actually training up our children in the way they should go. Right. We kind of miss this aspect of it. And communication is such a key for success in life. I mean, you can think back to just about any issue and it's all mostly failure of communication. And so how
Oh yeah.
powerful is this that you're now as an adult, as the parents, not only are you getting the benefits of bringing your family together, talking more, everybody getting on the same page, division walls getting knocked down, but now you're also training your kids on how to be good communicators, how to listen well, how to speak well, how to take notes. I mean, there's just so much value to this.
Yeah. And when y'all were talking, there was just something that stuck out to me so much about the vulnerability thing. And like my brain was just going back to this core memory that I had several years ago now. My grandma was in the process. She was dying from cancer. And so I was spending a lot of time like over there in the evenings and probably going to get emotional just even still talking about it now. But now I can be emotional. And as y'all were talking, it was just a reminder of how little I allowed my kids to see that side of the emotion of me. They would see some angry of me, but they really wouldn't see the hurt side of me. And I didn't even let Randall see it. And so I was going back and forth, so busy, just trying to make sure she was okay and just emotionally drained. So I remember coming in and I had just broke down in the car on the ride home and I went straight into the bedroom. I got in the shower because that's where I cry. that nobody's judging me. And then I just,
So that's me.
And then I laid in bed and I could hear them in the rest of the house saying, "Where's mom? Well, she came home. What happened to her?" And I couldn't allow the kids to see me upset like that because I had to be strong. I didn't want them to see that. And at that point in our blended family, we still were struggling with the blend because I refused to allow them to see me not having it all together like that. And I had those high expectations for them, and I had it for me too. So as y'all were talking about that vulnerability and being able to have a safe space that is coming every week to be able to say, guys, this is hard for me right now. Like this that we're going through, like it's hard for mom, and I'm struggling. And then to be okay, like I wouldn't even let Randall see me cry. Now he has, because after
she's like crying all the time. And I'm like, quit crying,
I
honey.
could be on a video, like I could be making a reel, a TikTok, anything, or, and I'll just start crying because I decided to stop hiding that part of our humanity from the people that I love and from people out there in the world. So I love that y'all build that in there.
Yeah, no, so such key. I mean, there's so many good things, that you're creating the space. The more that you're coming together, you never know what's going to come out of those conversations, the benefits that are going to come out of the conversations, and what you're just setting up for your family. Like you said, you are creating that rhythm in your family. And I love what y'all have done here. So how can all of our B fam, how can they connect with you? Where can they get this? What does the formats look like? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So the planners, the hardcover planners are at www.familymeetingplanner.com. And so we actually just launched a membership too that gives resources to like how to better dive into the family meeting, Q&A stuff. I mean, a lot of cool other additional things that layer on top of. I think it's more to help parents really overcome the objections that they think are going to be in the way to really doing this successfully. So we finally built something around that to help in that journey. So they get the hardbound cover there. Actually, we have a bonus. They'll get the digital version of that and some other bonuses that come along with that. And then from a social perspective, we're at the StepUp Method on Instagram. Personally, my personal is at Dad's Step Up, and then at Lisa Montross on Instagram as well. So those would be the best places to kind of connect with us. And and kind of follow our journey. And we want to also follow you guys' journeys as well as you guys follow us and we follow you.
Yes, no, love that. So all the listeners, I hope you grabbed that right there. We're going to have all those links there in the show notes to make that easy for you, because, this is something that I know as far as us, we get so busy, right? I mean, we live in the busy culture as kind of what they're calling it. And if we're not staying connected, we found so much benefit when even just husband and wife come together and what do we got going this week? And you're sitting there communicating that. But when you start bringing your family involved in that planning and that talking and that communicating, there's so much value. We have had so much healing from our family whenever we have these types of connections. So being intentional to create these spaces, I'm telling you, this is a game changer for any blended family out there. So I want you to have this resource. I love the two of you. Thank you for creating this and making this easy and making it fun. This is just a great thing. And we really do. We thank you so much for being here and just hanging out with us for a few minutes.
And we're going to be having a giveaway on our social media. So be following us on there. And when you hear this, go check it out and see if you've caught it in time so that you can actually get this family planner for you.
Ooh, we all like freeze, don't we?
Yeah.
So listen, thank you, Alex and Lisa, for being here and for joining us and just being a part. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're so excited for this connection and all the future connections and endeavors that we're gonna all have together. But this is good stuff. So be fan. I hope you grabbed all this. There was a lot of things that just got dropped in your lap. I hope you picked them all up and I hope you're running with them, because I'm telling you, that game changer that you need. You know,
Yes.
everyone complains. We're all such good complainers. I think we could all get awards for our complaining about our families. You know, we all got the stars on there, but you know what? This is how to change it. You know, if you really want change and you're serious about that and you're saying, I want my family connected, I'm tired of all the fighting and the fussing and the division and stuff like that, this is the starting point. You know, when you do something like this and you become intentional, you know, we're so good at being intentional with our work and with our play and things of that, but how intentional are we really with our family? So whenever you take this step and you say, you know what, I really am putting my family first, we're doing this for us because we're important, then I'm telling you, that's where you see the change. And so a simple product like this that helps make it easy, make life easy, that's what we all need. So go grab your copy, get that, but start having these meetings. They're that important, and you will see that much benefit from it. So listen, B fam, we love you. We thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode. Later, guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
And when you join, we also want to give you a free gift. So go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day. Remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.